Hello and welcome back to Thomas's Moustache. I hope you have your coffee ready, because I have mine. Oh, you don't have a coffee? Oh, that's okay. I made 2 cups. Maybe you can share one with me. Just joking. I'll drink it for you. So, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different from mustaches. I'm going to be talking about the Thomas side of the Thomas's Moustache. For the last 6 months, as I kind of touched on in the last video, I've been strangely absent. Things have been unusually quiet, and that there is a reason. I have been lazy and unmotivated and just not in the mood at all to film. That is a reason, but I have also been hard at work writing poetry, which is my passion. I have been writing poetry for a full 2 years now. I've always been poetically minded, even from my youth. My mother always said that I was good at poetry, and so did my teachers. But as I grew, I did not pursue. So I stopped writing poetry after childhood. But I suppose the bug has not died. It has laid its eggs in my head, and they have become beautiful larvae. So now the poetry bug is again living again. So I have been writing. 2022 to 2023, I wrote my first collection on top of doing other things, such as, well, working pretty steadily and doing my YouTubing and all sorts of stuff. That collection came together quite quickly, in a sense, because I had those years of not writing poetry bottling up inside of me, ready to be released. So the poetry just flowed. And I wrote my first collection, which I have here. It's called 2-Hour Reunion. The first collection here, and I have scribbled out my name so that you can kind of see. This collection here is 123 poems. I like the number 125, so I'll get to that. Why do I like that number and I make it 123? We'll talk about that in a moment. 2-Hour Reunion. The image that I used is not commercially rights. I don't have commercial rights for this image to sell it, but I used the image as a sort of representation of the feeling of the collection. So when it's published, it will have a different image. That is not the image that you would see when published, but just for me, because these collections, I wrote it 2022, 2023, now is 2024, so I want to look at something. I want to look at it and say, yes, this is the feeling. I don't just want it white. Although I do enjoy the old style of how they used to just do the border around. It's basically the title page is the cover of the book. So 2-Hour Reunion is getting ready to be published. So in the coming months, if you're interested, I can read some poems out of it to you, because they are going to be published, and it could be good to read a few to you if you're interested. This is very passionate. The style of poetry, I'll tell you right now, is my style. One thing about poetry, and if you're interested in poetry, if you're not, you'll find it quite boring, is that you read a lot of poetry. Like, I always love reading poetry. I devour it. but I can't become the thing. You know, you eat the lion's heart, you become the lion, right? Well, you can eat the poetry, but you don't become the poet. You have to accept that you are who you are. You can't be John Keats, you can't be D.H. Lawrence, you can't be W.B. Yeats. You have to be yourself. And my style is, I tried a bunch of different things in this one, but I did settle on my own style. But that's not all to tell you, because between 2023 2024 I wrote my second collection, which is called Where Moths Wait. Technically I wrote it between November 2022 and February 2024. There's an explanation for that, of course, but that particular collection is a sequel collection to this collection. So this collection is the first of a trilogy of collections. Where Moths Wait has 127 poems, I believe it is. I wanted to balance it out because I like the number 125 for poem collections, small collections. So I wanted to balance it. Where Moths Wait is a true sequel collection to our reunion. Now, Where Moths Wait, I won't read anything too soon because I just finished and now it is going through its proofreading phase, so I won't even attempt to publish it until next year, at the beginning of next year. I need to settle on it. I need to let the dust settle and make sure that I love everything. Although I did have a lot of improvements when I was writing this one. It really fell into place quite well compared to our reunion, in a sense where I felt like I was better at writing poetry, that I didn't need to change everything. That's one problem, is I changed so much in a poem that now I have to proofread it and kind of get rid of the divisions between old and new and what have you, version 1, version 2, version 3 of the poem. So essentially what happened was, in 2023, I was writing pretty steadily because I started in January and I thought, well, I know what I want, 125 poems. If I do, if I just, every time I have an idea for a poem, I just write it down, then every week I'll make steady progress. And it's a bit cheating because I started in November as well of 2022. So I had some extra time. But I would say that at the end I was aiming to get it done for November of 2023. Finish the last poem and put it in the collection. But I had about, 10 poems left to write, and I was pretty close. But, you never rush poetry. You don't force poetry. You can't. You're going to spit out bad writing because it's not coming from a natural place. It's artificial. So I was hoping to finish by November, but you know what? It didn't happen. And it didn't happen by December or January. It happened mid-February. I finally finished. And, I'll never say, I gotta release it. I gotta finish it early. This is good enough. Because remember, you should be your worst critic. You should be your best critic. You should be your most intense critic. And you shouldn't stop until that critic is satisfied about every detail. And I took that to heart, my own thought. So I had to make sure that I was satisfied. And I pushed extra hard. In a sense, I devoted all of my attention to it. And it worked, it happened. Not to say that I forced it, but I definitely invested my time into cultivating the perfect environment for a poem to grow and flourish. So if poetry is something you're interested in, I would love to hear about that, that you're interested in it. I don't expect a lot of people to say, wow, I love mustaches and poetry. But if you are interested, please do let me know. I mainly made this video for Crazy Jay, who is interested. I'm very thankful because, we share that interest, and he's encouraged me to sort of talk about it. So that's good. Actually, he encourages me to make these videos because, it's good to have that encouragement. I really do appreciate it. Even if I do just talk and talk and talk, and I'm not such an interesting person. So if you're interested, let me know, especially as my collection 2-Hour Reunion is closer to being published. I will read some poems to you, and hopefully you like them. Just to tell you, this is A4 paper. The format is for traditional poetry book-sized paper. I just reformatted it to fit A4 for myself, because I don't have poetry paper, but I wrote it for poetry-sized paper, right? Like a proper book. Just to tell you, that's how it's formatted on the computer, and I reformatted it to A4 so I could print it out and read it myself and give it to my trusty proofreaders who have been very helpful, because when I read my poetry, I don't really see the words anymore, I see the message. And that is troublesome when all I want to do is proofread it. So I've gone through it about 1,000,000 times, and still mistakes are found. Well, not anymore, but originally. That's why Where Mobs Wait isn't even close to being published until the beginning of next year, because I do go through it 1,000,000 times and catch those little wicked errors that need to be corrected. So, thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Toodaloo.